Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So with a few videos that I've uploaded this past year, I've been formally introduced and exposed to the multiplayer-only gamer. Now, I subconsciously always knew that this type of gamer existed, but it's not something that's always clicked with me, not something I always totally understood. But after doing some research, talking to multiplayer-only gamers, watching YouTube videos on multiplayer games, interacting with a variety of multiplayer communities, and of course playing a variety of multiplayer games, I have noticed some consistent and unfortunate aspects when it comes to multiplayer-only gamers. I see and hear a great deal of multiplayer-only gamers making statements and spreading ideas about video games that I personally consider to be unhelpful and unhealthy to gaming as a whole. And as someone who plays a great deal of both single-player and multiplayer video games, I have comprised a list, a top 5, of things that multiplayer-only gamers need to understand about the video games they play. Now, I've made this video in order to be helpful and informative, but it is, in the end, like most of what I do on this channel, an opinion piece. And whether you want to listen and or agree with me is totally up to you. However, with all that being said, these are the top 5 things that multiplayer-only gamers need to understand. Number 5. Being a jerk online is pointless. Seriously, it solves nothing. Now, I understand that from some of the perspective of multiplayer-only gamers, if you are harsh on your teammates, or aggressive and insulting towards the enemy team, that somehow this will have a psychological effect on both sides that positively affects the match in your favor. Doesn't work like that, and let me tell you why. Being an asshole to your teammates doesn't inspire them to get better and win the match for you. It actually does one of two things. It makes them anxious and paranoid now about winning the game, with that anxiety compromising their concentration because they don't feel like getting yelled at and being called names by some stranger online. Or 2, that just makes your teammates dislike you and not want to play with you and probably lose the match on purpose to piss you off, or leave the game outright to not play with you. And as for the enemy team, well, that just makes the enemy team now have more of a concentration on you and try to make sure you have a bad game and you lose the game. I don't know why I need to explain this, which is why it's number 5 on the list, because this is obvious and stupid. I shouldn't need to explain basic human emotions, communication, and psychology 101. I mean, come on now. It also, doesn't speak well to you as a person that you're insulting a bunch of strangers online over a video game. Like, why would anyone want to be your friend or play with you or communicate with you if you're just being a dick online? Don't be a jerk online, is what I'm trying to get to here. It's pointless. It's useless. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't be a jerk online. It's really that simple. Number 4. Not everything is overpowered, and not everything is underpowered. You hear this complaint a lot from multiplayer-only gamers, that something in a video game is either underpowered or overpowered, usually weapons, abilities, specific characters and classes, all that jazz. And you know what? In a great deal of games, there are things that are overpowered and underpowered. It does happen, without a doubt. Which is why this is low on the list, but still, there are a great deal of multiplayer-only gamers that usually go overboard in calling certain things overpowered or underpowered. And to them, I say this: before you say something is overpowered or underpowered, maybe, just maybe, do a bit of experimentation. Is it really the weapon, the item, the class, the character that's overpowered or underpowered? Or are you just really good or really bad at using those things? Is it the actual in-game mechanics that are having you win or lose, or are you just a good or bad player? Because sometimes it just comes down to get good or realize that you're good. Let's not just immediately assume that something is overpowered or underpowered just because you're getting killed by it a lot or you're doing a lot of killing with it. Look at the stats, do some experimentation, do some training, do some practice, and determine whether or not it's the game or it's the player. Not everything is overpowered and not everything is underpowered. Number 3. No game is entirely skill-based. Luck will always be involved, and I really can't believe I need to explain this. I really can't believe that there are so many multiplayer gamers out there who don't understand this. Now, for the most part, a great deal of what I'm saying in this video is my opinion, but this right here, this is just fact. This is just objective fact. This is truth. No matter the video game, whether it be single player or multiplayer, luck is going to play a factor. Luck is always going to be involved whether you like it or not, especially when it comes to multiplayer. Every time you get a kill in multiplayer, or you get killed in multiplayer, it's not because you were skilled at the game, it's not because you were bad at the game, it's not because your opponent was skilled at the game, or bad at the game. It could always be just wrong place, wrong time. It could always just be, oh shoot, my hand slipped off the controls. Like, oh shoot, I wasn't paying attention for a second of what's going on screen. Or, oh shoot, I wasn't completely 100% focusing or concentrating on the game. Or, oh shoot, my internet crapped out, or another player's internet crapped out. It's affecting the match. This is all luck-based. This is all luck, life, lucky life-based. Shit happens sometimes, and no one has control over it. And this is present in multiplayer games, which a great deal of multiplayer gamers need to understand this. Not every kill you get in multiplayer is going to be completely skill-based. There's going to be some luck involved. Not every victory, not every defeat in multiplayer is going to be completely skill-based. Not going to be completely because you were just a good team. There's going to be some luck involved from so many different angles, so many different parameters, so many different perspectives, whether it be different internet connections, timing, and placement of different players. Like, the list just goes on and on and on. And I don't understand why multiplayer gamers just don't understand or think to themselves, hey, maybe he was just lucky, maybe I was just lucky. It happens, okay? Luck is involved in multiplayer games. You guys gotta understand this. It's also really, really stupid to crap out on certain video games that aren't skill-based enough, there's too much luck involved, when you could literally say that about any and all multiplayer games. Basically, don't go telling me that, oh, that video game's luck-based, that video game's luck-based, when you play Call of Duty and Battlefield. Don't you dare tell me those games aren't luck-based and luck doesn't play a factor in those games. That's just a ridiculous notion, a ridiculous thought process, that any game can be purely skill-based. That's dumb. Number 2, camping is going to happen no matter what. This is another thing that baffles me that multiplayer-only gamers don't understand. And they start crapping out on certain multiplayer games for saying, oh, there's too much camping in this game promotes camping. First off, buddy, no video game promotes camping. Camping is not a gameplay mechanic. Camping is not a gameplay feature. Camping is a playstyle, a choice of a player. Video games do not promote camping. They do not encourage camping. Players choose to camp. Camping is a choice. And in certain situations, it's a valid choice. For instance, if you're playing a sniper class, using a sniper rifle, well, you're going to camp, because that's how that weapon was designed. Snipers are designed to dig into a certain position, use a long-range, accuracy-heavy, damage-dealing weapon. So whether you like it or not, whether it annoys you or not, it doesn't matter. Camping as a sniper is a completely valid playstyle. If the game has a sniper rifle in it, camping is a valid playstyle. However, if someone is camping with an assault rifle, or a shotgun, or an SMG of all things, then yes, you have every reason to crap out that player. Because then, that's, in my opinion, just being a puss. Weapons like assault rifles, shotguns, or SMGs are to encourage you to move around and push forward, not camp in a corner. But here's the thing though, you can't stop those players. You can crap them out for camping, but it's not the game's fault. It's not the video game's fault that players choose to camp. That's just a bad habit certain players have, and they're gonna do it. It doesn't matter if the game promotes camping or not, players are gonna camp. There are certain players that are just gonna camp. So making ridiculous statements like, this video game promotes camping, it's ludicrous. It's ridiculous. The only video game I've ever known to promote camping are the Sniper Elite games, but that's because everybody in that game plays as a sniper, so it's a valid strategy. But besides Sniper Elite, no other games promote camping. Players choose to camp. Camping is a choice, not a gameplay mechanic. Don't blame a game for a player's actions. Camping is going to happen no matter what. And finally, the number one thing that multiplayer-only gamers need to understand is single player and bots matter. I've heard and read time and time again the multiplayer-only gamers state that I don't care about single player, I don't care about bots. I don't like killing bots. Now this, in my opinion, is not a good or consumer-friendly mentality to have. Only caring for the PvP multiplayer in games, or only playing PvP multiplayer only games, sends a very bad message to video game developers and publishers. Because whether you like or dislike single player, whether you're a multiplayer only gamer or not, you should care about having more content in your video games, and of course, more importantly, having your video games historically preserved. You see, the thing with a multiplayer only video game, or the multiplayer portion, the PvP specifically, the PvP multiplayer portion of video games, or PvP multiplayer only video games, the problem with these games is, you can't preserve these games. They are the only type of video game in existence that can actually die and literally become unplayable. I bring up this example all the time, but only because I love this game and I'm hoping one day it finally has something done about it. Titanfall. I love Titanfall. It's one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time, but it doesn't have a single player, doesn't have a single player story campaign, doesn't have offline matches against bots. And because of this, sometime soon, sometime years from now, no one's gonna be playing Titanfall, and the game will really truly be dead. Unplayable, because the game is multiplayer PvP only. It requires other people to play. A video game should never require other people to play it. A video game should be like every other form of art and media. Movies, music. I buy a DVD or a Blu-ray, I bring it home, I can play it, listen to it, watch it, anytime I want without requiring other people. On top of that, I can play it, listen to it, watch it, whenever I want, years from now. Anytime I want means anytime I want, and what you multiplayer-only gamers don't seem to understand, you look at video games as a temporary high. You go in, get your fill, and move on to the next multiplayer game. And hey, I can't stop you, do what you want, but to me personally, that's an unhealthy and anti-consumer behavior, in my opinion. Because it gives the idea to people, and supports the idea to people that, hey, we can give people an inferior product with less content and has no historical preservation whatsoever. Doesn't matter if 5 years from now no one can play the game, it's literally unplayable, but hey, at least we'll make our money off the multiplayer only gamers. No, we should not be supporting this, we should not be indulging in this. All video games should either have single player, a story campaign, or bot matches. Story mode, single player mode, bot matches. Doesn't matter. Now, you don't necessarily need a lengthy, story-driven cinematic campaign. Not every game needs that. Not every game is built for that. That's totally understandable. But bots. Bots are a bare minimum requirement. They should be a bare minimum requirement in games. If you have a multiplayer function in your game, there should be offline matches against bots. I have been talking about this and bringing this up every chance I get, and in every video I make, we should be demanding bots in multiplayer games. If it's a multiplayer only game, there should be bots, so that years down the line, I can buy this game and play it years from its prime. If you add bots into a game, specifically a multiplayer PvP one, if you can play the different game modes and play on the different maps and play with the different weapons, offline with AI, that means that content is preserved. That means that game is preserved. That means I can buy this game anytime I want and play it anytime I want, like with every other video game. I don't know if you multiplayer only gamers have noticed, but have you heard and seen how certain gamers cherish and praise certain single-player video games? Talk about their experiences with those games, how they love those games, and how they go back to and replay those games? You really can't say the same for all your PvP multiplayer-only games now, can you? Because people aren't playing those games anymore, they've moved on to the next multiplayer. But if the game had single-player, if it had bots, you could go back to that game, replay that game. Sure, it wouldn't be the exact same experience as playing with players, but hey, at least you could still access the content. At least you still got your money's worth, you still got value. You still got a product that you can access anytime you want, it's yours. With a multiplayer PvP only game, with no bots or single player, the game's not really yours. Because as soon as other people stop playing it, you can't play it. So please, multiplayer only gamers, please, I'm asking nicely. I'm not demanding, I'm not telling you. I'm asking nicely, please don't say that you don't care about single player, that you don't care about bots. Please don't say that you don't care. Because in my opinion, you should care. You should care about you and your fellow consumers getting more content for their money and being able to historically preserve video games. Because that's what single player does. That's what bots do. Gives you more content, more value for your money, and gives you a product, a long-lasting product that is truly yours, and you can play it, use it, abuse it till the end of time. So please, multiplayer-only gamers, consider what I've said in this video. These have been the top 5 things that multiplayer gamers, in my opinion, need to understand. But now this video has come to a close. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did indeed like the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved in the video. If you hit the like button, please leave a comment. What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the topics of this video? Let me know in the comment section below. I love reading comments. I get nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to help out and support me directly, then please consider pledging and becoming a patron on my Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I'll see you all later.